Every morning, neighborhood children watched in wonder as 75-year-old Michael painted colorful flowers, birds, and rainbows on the old brick wall. But no one ever noticed why this gentle old man was always crying. In one of the older neighborhoods of Chicago, between narrow streets lined with century-old brownstones, a small miracle was happening every day. At exactly 7 a.m., Michael Thompson would step out of his small apartment carrying plastic bags filled with paint tubes, brushes, and cloth rags. His destination was always the same, the large, weathered brick wall at the corner of Maple and 3rd. Children walking to school would pause to watch him. Despite his trembling hands that struggled to grip the brushes, the paintings that emerged were so vibrant, so alive. It was as if a magical window had opened in that wall. One day, pink tulips, the next blue butterflies, sometimes golden sunbeams streaming through clouds. "Mr. Michael, what are you going to paint today?" little Emma would ask every morning. Michael would smile, but his eyes always held that misty shimmer. "Wait and see, sweetheart," he'd say. "Today will be something very special." The neighbors had been shocked at first, then gradually accepted it. What had once been an ordinary cold concrete wall had become the heart of the neighborhood. Elderly residents would sip their morning coffee while watching Michael's artwork. Teenagers would take photos for social media, and for the children, this wall was pure magic. But no one knew Michael's story. Young Michael, only 35 at the time, had lived in a small apartment nearby with his wife Rose. Rose was pregnant, and every day as they passed that wall, they would talk about what kind of world they were preparing for their baby. "Wouldn't it be beautiful if we painted something on that wall?" Rose had said one day. "When our baby grows up, they should always see beautiful things." Michael had laughed and kissed her forehead. "Just ask and I'll paint anything for you." But that painting never happened. Michael lost Rose and their unborn child in a car accident. For 40 years after that day, he couldn't walk past that wall, always taking different routes around the neighborhood. Until one day, when he heard a little girl crying. "I want to be an artist like my mom," little Emma was sobbing, "but my drawings never turn out pretty." Michael stopped, the child's broken colored pencils, the scribbled over papers in her hands. Suddenly he heard Rose's voice in his ears. "When our baby grows up, they should always see beautiful things." That day, Michael's 40-year-old fear came to an end. The next morning, he stood before that wall with paints in his hands. With the first brushstroke, tears began to flow, but these were different tears. The painting he couldn't create for Rose, he was now creating for all the neighborhood children. Months passed. Michael's wall became the neighborhood's pride. It had gone viral on social media with the hashtag #NumberOurNeighborhoodArtist, and people from far away would come to take photos. But most importantly, the neighborhood children now took art lessons from Michael every morning. "You see, children," Michael would say, "colors have their own language. Blue tells sadness, yellow tells joy, red tells love." The children listened as if spellbound. Emma had truly decided to become an artist. Other neighborhood children had also discovered art and began coloring their dreams. Until that dark day arrived. Tuesday morning, the city inspectors came. "Mr. Thompson, this wall is private property," the lead inspector said coldly. "There are complaints about unauthorized alterations. You need to remove these paintings." Michael's brush fell to the ground. "But the children aren't our concern. Painting here is illegal. We're giving you 15 days. If you don't clean it, we'll issue a fine." The neighborhood rose up in protest. Neighbor Mrs. Patricia shouted, "This man has lived here for 40 years. What harm has he done?" While shop owner Hassan added, "These paintings beautify our neighborhood. Why should they be illegal?" But bureaucracy was merciless. The fine notice arrived. $5,000 penalty and mandatory wall cleaning. That night, Michael sat on his apartment balcony, looking at Rose's photograph. "I failed again, Rose," he whispered. "They're going to take away what I gave the children." But the neighborhood stood by him. The next morning, when Michael came to the wall, he was shocked. The entire neighborhood was there. Children with papers in their hands, elderly people with chairs, young people with their phones. "Mr. Michael," said Neighborhood Association President David Walsh, "we've started a petition campaign here. This wall isn't just yours anymore. It belongs to all of us." Little Emma handed him her paper. Written on it in colorful crayons was, "Mr. Michael's paintings are our dreams. Please don't erase them." Tears flowed like a river from Michael's eyes, but this time he wasn't alone. At that moment, there was an unexpected visitor in the neighborhood. A black SUV stopped at the corner. A man in his early 50s wearing a business suit got out. The neighbors watched curiously. The man approached Michael. "Mr. Michael, do you remember me?" Michael looked up. He gazed into the man's eyes and suddenly couldn't breathe. "Kevin, is that you, son?" The suited man's eyes welled up and he nodded. "I've been looking for you for 40 years, Mr. Michael. Kevin was the son of Rose's brother James. 40 years ago, when they lost Rose, the family had scattered, everyone moving to different cities. Little Kevin had moved to California with his uncle. Years passed. Kevin became a very successful architect, working on major projects in Chicago. "I saw your paintings on social media," Kevin said. "I recognized that wall. It was Aunt Rose's favorite spot. She always said she'd paint there someday." Michael's voice trembled. "Do you remember Rose?" "Of course. She taught me to paint. I became an architect because of her, and now I want to do something for you." Kevin pulled out a folder from his briefcase. "I've filed ownership papers for this wall. I legally purchased it. Now this wall is yours, Mr. Michael, and painting here is no longer illegal." The neighborhood erupted in applause, but Kevin continued. "Also, I want to establish a free art workshop here for neighborhood children to fulfill Aunt Rose's dream." Michael's knees gave way. Kevin caught him. "Aunt Rose's greatest dream was for children to grow up surrounded by beautiful things. You've been living her dream for 40 years. You're not alone anymore." That day, a historic transformation began in the neighborhood. Kevin's firm turned the area around the wall into a small park. Benches, flower beds, lighting. Michael's paintings could now be seen at night too. The art workshop established for children attracted kids not just from the neighborhood, but from all over the city. Emma held her first exhibition here. The little girl was truly on her way to becoming an artist. Michael was no longer just painting walls. He was teaching children, helping them color their dreams. 6 months later, that wall had become one of Chicago's most famous art spots. Even the mayor came to congratulate Michael. "I wish we could support such projects too," he said embarrassedly. Neighborhood Association President David smiled. "It's not too late. There are still many walls." That evening, as Michael was applying finishing touches, little Emma came up to him. "Mr. Michael, why do you always cry when you paint?" Michael put down his brush and took Emma into his arms. "Because, sweetheart, sometimes happiness makes people cry too. For 40 years I was searching for someone I'd lost. Now I've found them in all of you." "Who is the lost person?" "Love, sweetheart. The kind that multiplies when you share it, that comes back to you as much as you give." Emma was curious. "Then why do you always paint this wall?" Michael wiped his tears and pulled out Rose's photograph from his pocket. "This beautiful woman was my wife, Rose. She wanted this wall to be beautiful. I'm living her dream. Where is she now? In the sky, among the angels. But when we do beautiful things here, she sees us and smiles." Emma thought seriously. "Then when I grow up, I'll paint beautiful pictures too, so Aunt Rose can see me too." Michael hugged the girl tightly. At that moment he understood. Wasn't this Rose's true legacy? passing love, beauty, and art to future generations. That night, when the neighborhood settled into silence, Michael stood before the wall one last time. He looked at the colorful world that had emerged from his hands, the flowers, birds, children, love. He wrote on a small note he pulled from his pocket, "Dear Rose, 40 years later, I've fulfilled your dream. This wall now belongs not just to us, but to all children." You were right. Beauty multiplies when shared. Your love continues to live in this neighborhood. I love you forever, my darling. He left the note at the base of the wall. The wind took it away. Just like Rose's spirit, it could now reach everywhere. The next morning, children gathered again in front of the wall. "Mr. Michael, what are you going to paint today?" Emma asked. This time, Michael wasn't crying at all. He was only smiling. "Today we're going to draw something very special, sweetheart. All together. Because the most beautiful paintings are the ones made together." And that day, for the first time, all the neighborhood children held brushes alongside Michael. In the new corner of the wall, children holding hands appeared under a rainbow. This was Rose's real dream. The passing of love, art, and beauty from generation to generation. This story reminds us that sometimes the greatest artworks aren't created in museums, but on the streets. Sometimes the most valuable inheritance isn't gold, but love. And sometimes the most powerful resistance comes through the power of colors. Michael's story is real. That wall is still there. And every morning, new children come to watch him. What are you doing to create beauty in your own neighborhood? If this story inspired you, don't forget to like it and tell us in the comments. Are there unforgettable characters like this in your neighborhood too? See you in our next video. We continue chasing beautiful stories.